This video is the second in a series of 6 videos created to provide an overview of the Midmark digital spirometer. This video will guide you through the software configuration process. Always refer to the appropriate technical documentation for the complete list of instructions, safety alerts, and sequence of procedures before conducting any service or maintenance operations. IQ Manager and the Midmark digital spirometer can be customized by using the configuration settings. Refer to the digital spirometer and IQ Manager operation manuals for additional details. To begin, access the configuration settings by clicking on the Settings wheel on the upper right side of the IQ Manager opening screen. The IQ Manager Configuration Settings dialog box will appear. Customize how patient and institution information is displayed and printed by entering the corresponding information into the labeled boxes or selecting the options from the drop-down menus. You may access the menus by selecting the applicable drop-down arrows. Complete the institution name and institution address fields with information about the medical practice. Enter a name that describes the practice location to enable other medical personnel to recognize the origin of the reports and save the information. Choose between metric and English units of measurement as well as 24 and 12-hour time standard. When finished, press Save. All information saved in this screen will apply to all devices. Now select the Devices tab from the IQ Manager Configuration Settings dialog box. Access the Midmark digital spirometer configuration settings by selecting the Settings wheel button on the right side of the device information section. The Midmark digital spirometer configuration screen will open. A toolbar will appear on the left-hand side of the screen. Each tab in the toolbar will allow you to customize how the software will display information on the screen and reports by editing the following options: Configuration, List Management, Reports, Cover Page, Incentive and Miscellaneous, Trending, Ethnic Adjustments, Interpretation, Measurements, Calibration. Once the information on the configuration screen tabs has been customized, select one of the options from the bottom left of the configuration screen to save the changes to the current profile. Save saves the changes applied to the configuration settings. Reset resets all the configuration sections to the last saved changes. Restore defaults restores the current configuration profile to the system defaults. Configuration changes can also be saved by selecting the plus sign button at the bottom of the screen to save the customized changes to a new, existing, or default profile. Enter a new profile name and select where the customized information detail will appear by clicking on one of the options from the drop-down menu in the Profile Template box. Select Default to apply the default settings to the new profile created. Select Save. Then select the Exit button at the top of the configuration screen to exit the configuration screen. If there are any unsaved changes, the software will prompt the user to either save, discard, or cancel upon attempting to exit the configuration screen without saving the changes applied. Save saves the customized profile. Discard discards all edits and uses the last saved configuration profile settings. Cancel takes the user back to the configuration screen to continue editing. To reset the configurations to system default, select the circle arrow button located on the title bar. This will restore that specific configuration section to the system default. To restore all the configuration sections, use the Reset button at the bottom of the left panel. A Restore Defaults confirmation window appears when the user selects the Reset option. Yes restores the configuration section to system defaults. No returns to the screen last accessed. The Incentive Miscellaneous tab enables the user to customize the pictorial representation settings of the incentive that the patient will see when performing a test. Incentive display type. Since spirometry is a patient effort-dependent test, these incentives help some patients complete their exhalation and perform the test properly. The default selection is candles. Click on the drop-down arrow to open the Incentive Display Type menu to select an alternative option. IQ Manager software comes with an auto-interpretation feature. The interpretation software default setting is on when you receive your spirometer. To change the default reference equations for adult and pediatric tests, click on the Interpretation tab. There are 7 reference equations available. With the release of version 11 software, Global Lung Initiative, or GLI, is now available for adult and pediatric primary reference equations. Not every spirometry measurement is available in every reference equation. The secondary reference equations can be used to complete missing measurements. For example, if the user's primary reference equation does not have an equation for FEF25, select a secondary reference equation that does to complete the report. The user can control the auto-interpretation feature from this tab, which allows the user to select the ATS logic or the Enhance 3 logic. If the user does not wish to have the software automatically interpret spirometry tests, Select None in the Auto Interpretation box. The primary care practitioner, or PCP mode, overrides reference equation and interpretation selections. The PCP mode automatically selects the NHANES 3 reference equations and interpretation logic, and modifies the test acquisition screen, the test review screen, and printed reports. To set the Midmark digital spirometer into PCP mode, click on the Configuration tab. Select PCP mode from the drop-down list in the Configuration Profile dialog box and click Save. As recommended by the National Lung Health Education Program, this mode simplifies the test procedure and report options. For the test procedure, it eliminates the VC and MVV test selection. After each test maneuver is performed, the software will give a quality control grade for the test session. The quality control grade displayed will be A, B, C, D, or F. A test session must be graded A, B, or C to generate an interpretation, and the results of pre-FVC and post-FVC tests are only compared if both the pre- and post-sessions are graded A, B, or C. 2 acceptable tests are required for the software to display Good Test Session. Refer to the Operation Manual for additional details on effort grading. Grading can be enabled or disabled outside of PCP mode. Checking the PCP mode box with a profile other than PCP mode selected on the Configuration tab will enable test grading and remove VC and MVV from the test screen. This allows the user to customize the report. To remain in PCP mode without customization, select PCP mode from the Configuration Profile box. The FVC settings enable the user to define the acceptable length of test required. Reducing this number will affect the length of test acceptability error code. The ATS recommends that the minimum length of test be set to 3 seconds for patients less than 10 years of age and 6 seconds for patients greater than 10 years of age. The gold settings can be enabled by clicking the Use Gold COPD calculation option at the bottom of the interpretation screen. The Global Initiative for Chronic Obstructive Lung Disease, or GOLD, assessment aids in the characterization of the severity of COPD. This concludes Video 2. Continue to Video 3 for more information about calibrating your device. For more detailed information about your device, please refer to the Midmark Digital Spirometer User Guide. For further support, contact Midmark Technical Services at 1-844-856-1230, Option 2.